Hello everyone, thanks for tuning in and welcome to the channel. It has been a while since I've put out a video, but hopefully in this coming year I'll put out a lot more videos a lot more often, and I've got a few things planned, and so hopefully some of those videos will be of interest to you guys out there. Now today I've got an interesting video to show you guys and some interesting watches to show you guys. The premise of the video is really some of my previous videos that you guys may have seen. I bought some job lots, and within those job lots we found some really interesting watches. I was able to get a lot of them working, and the intention in each one of those job lots was there was one or two watches that appealed to me, so I thought if I could purchase those job lots I could maybe make some money back from selling the other watches. And as it turns out, I've actually ended up with a whole collection of watches, which I am going to show you guys today. And in that collection, I've basically, from all of the other watches within those job lots, I've managed to recoup all of the money I spent on these lots. So it was about £250 in total, and so far I've made sales for about 280. So I'm well on my way. Well, I've surpassed the money I've spent on the lots themselves. It has taken some time to list items, and obviously when they sell, make sure you get the parcel shipped and things like that. But obviously that apart from that time and effort, I've managed to recoup all of the funds. And so beyond that, what's interesting and what's quite quite a good news story in that respect is I have got a whole load more watches still yet to list. I've got a whole load of watches still listed on eBay and Vinted and things like that. And so I've already done a few back of the packet calculations, and I think I should be able to achieve a profit of around, I'd say, about £200 to £300 potentially from all of the watches. And that's whilst being able to keep all of the watches I'm going to show you today as part of my own collection, which is really quite cool. So it's just an experiment I did. I invested about £250, spent some time listing some items, fixing some items up, procuring some batteries and things like that. So there's some small investment in that. So I did get a few straps that I wanted to change on some of the watches before I listed them. And so all in all, if I paid around 250 for the watches, with batteries and a few straps and things like that I bought, it's about £30 more. So you could say 280 total is what I've spent, as well as obviously time and effort. But what I've got out of that is obviously some profit, hopefully, and continue to list some of the other watches that I haven't yet got around to listing. So all in all, I think this has been a very successful experiment. So I hope you guys enjoy looking at some of the watches now. I'll get on with showing them to you. We'll start with what is pretty much an old faithful in everyone's watch collection. This is obviously a Casio F91. The strap, well, this particular watch didn't arrive with the strap, but I managed to pick one up from eBay for about £2. It's not a genuine Casio strap, but it's just serviceable for what I need. I have 2 or 3 of these already. I like to keep one in the car. I like to throw one in the bag if I'm traveling and things like that. So this is always going to be of use to me. It's a very reliable watch. It's just something that I like to have around, basically. Kind of, it's become a comfort item for me, I think. The next watch that I'd like to show you guys is this one here, which is an Awesome Timex Expedition. Now, this is a strap that I purchased from AliExpress for it for something like $2 or $3, which is hardly anything. It's a good quality strap. It's an elastic band strap. I think It's called like a Marine Nationale or something like that, if you were to give it its proper name. So with this particular watch, when it arrived, it wasn't actually working. It did run, but the Indiglo didn't work, and that's one of the main features of a watch like this. And so I was really disappointed with that, actually. But I went on a small adventure to try and get it to work, and I did a bit of research. I found out that there was a few fixes, and I tried each one of those. It didn't really without success, so in the end I had to purchase another Timex, and I found one for like £5 on Vinted. It was really battered, but it ran and the Indiglo worked, and I had to swap out the movement, and I actually did a really good job, I think, because it wasn't, there's been times when I've had to fiddle with hands and things like that, and I've spent hours trying to kind of get the hand-eye coordination that I need. But on this occasion I actually did it first time, and it was really cool, and I was really happy. So now the Indiglo works. You can see it very slightly now, but I'll show you guys some loom shots of some of the watches a bit later. Well, a couple of them, this one and another one, because they're interesting. When I turn the lights a bit down, when I take the studio lights down, sorry. The next watch that I want to show you guys is this Avia that I decided to keep. It's a Japanese movement. Avia is a very old brand, established brand. I think they started out making Swiss watches, but they've moved on from that now. I think they're more Japan movements and possibly cased in China and things like that. But either way, this one is 18 karat gold plated, so given the price of gold at the moment, I thought I'd probably keep it, but I doubt it would be of any value, to be honest. I just quite like it, in truth. It's a nice classic dress watch. It's not really my style at all, but it's something that's now in my collection, so it will get worn probably in a few years or something. This watch here is a Marks and Spencer's watch. It came with a totally different strap that was pretty much destroyed, so I swapped it out for a NATO that I had, a 22mm one, and this watch doesn't really have any value. I guess you could sell it for anywhere up to £5, maybe 2 or 3 would be much more in line with what it's worth, so there's no real point if you're going to sell it on eBay, I guess. But the reason I kept this watch and the reason why I like this watch is because of the electroluminescent light that you can see there, and the fact that it also lights up the water resistance. So it's just quite cool. It lights up the numbers individually, and it's not something you would expect necessarily looking at the watch. Next up, we've got the only mechanical watch that I managed to keep from this whole experiment, and this one here is a Cora. It's got 17 jewels. I'm not really sure it's worth very much at all, but it does run. Now, I haven't timed it or anything like that. I haven't wore it for an extended period. I've only just recently got this strap for it, to be honest, but I will wear it. I don't have a time graph. I'm hoping to probably get one, I guess. I've got so many watches, it's probably a good idea to have one. And I'll probably test it if I get one, but when I wear it, I'll see how well it keeps time, obviously. And you can see here it's got some plating. I don't think that's gold plating on this occasion. You've got the Roman numerals, and you've got that sort of gold brushed finish on that dial, which is cool. I like the case shape as well. I like the way the case back itself, it makes it look like a bit of a flying saucer. It'll be interesting to see what the movement's like. I probably will open it up and maybe show you guys towards the end of the video, because I haven't actually seen the movement myself. I do know it runs, even though it hasn't got a seconds hand. It's a quintessential dress watch in that sense, but you can hear it ticking once you get it wound up, and you can obviously, I've seen that the time's working on it as well. How well it's keeping time, I'm not sure of. I did get 2 other mechanical watches in some of the lots, and so that was the only 3, but the other 2 were ladies' watches, and I'll be honest with you, the movements were absolutely tiny. So you could say that the movements in those watches were smaller than the gold section of this dial. That's how small those watches are, and I haven't actually listed those yet. I'm planning to do so, and I'll probably sell them for maybe between £5 and £10 each, because both of those watches also run, which is quite cool. How well they keep time again, I'm not so sure of. This watch here is the next watch. It's a rotary, and it's a rotary tank watch. It's an awesome watch. I've put this blue leather croc style strap on it, but I kept the buckle from the original strap, which is cool because it's a really nice design on it. And this is part of the Rotary Classics collection, and you can see here how they've imitated that gear shape pattern, and it's obviously very, very reminiscent of a certain tank watch. And you can see the condition of this particular watch is really pretty bad. The crystal and the case itself is scuffed up all over, but I have recently acquired some skills in regards to finishing, and potentially taking some of these scratches out of the crystal too. One of my older videos, I helped a friend of mine restore one of his watches, and I did actually, in the end, it came out quite well considering the state of the watch when I started. So it obviously wasn't back to brand new or anything of that sort. It wasn't even, I'm sure I could have done a much better job if I was much more skilled, but it was to a standard where he was actually quite pleased with the result, and so was I, considering it was the first watch I ever tried something like that with. So this will be the second watch I try something like that with, and I'll probably make a much shorter video just showing quick clips of the process, and then the obviously the result too. Hopefully I'll do a much better job on this particular watch too, and show some improvements from the last time I attempted it. But this is an awesome watch. I think if I was to finish this, even in this condition, it's anywhere between £50 and £80, but if I was to finish it really well, get it back to close to its former glory, I think you could get up to £100 for a watch like that. Next up, we've got this swatch. I think it's an Irony. It's quite an old model, I believe, but this watch, I really, really love the dial of this watch, and I said as much in the video where I first opened the job lot and I came across it. It's just beautiful. It's burnt orange, and it's got a mirror finish. I don't know how well it's coming across on camera, but it's absolutely gorgeous. And it had a it had a leather strap, but it was absolutely destroyed. So one of the other job lots that I from one of the other job lots, I had another swatch which was the same model but a different style, and that one didn't run. It was basically the crown had broken, and it was just gone basically. And I managed to get the strap off that and put it on this for now. It's a genuine swatch strap and it fits the watch nicely, but I'm hoping maybe I'll pick up a leather strap for it. I know that Swatch sell them and they're not that expensive anyway. I think between £10 and £20 you can probably pick one up directly from Swatch, maybe a bit more. So I'll be possibly interested in doing that. I just really, really like the look of it. The design as well, guys, it's just really cool for a cheap, inexpensive watch. It's just such a cool design, and it works as well. So as soon as I put a battery in it, it was running, so that I was really, really happy with that. I was quite nervous about it because it was so old, and the finish is condition wise, it's really good. I've actually polished up the crystal with some polywatch already. I think it's an acrylic crystal, so the polywatch did a fairly good job. I think I can go once or twice more and get an even better finish. So far you can see, guys, I've got all of these watches in front of me. All of these watches have actually paid me to be the owner of them, to have collected them, and that's really quite cool. And value, in terms of their own value, they've got some really decent value. I'd say, as I said, this could be at least £50. When I clean it up, it could go anywhere between 80 and 100. This particular watch, I think once I get a strap on it, it's easily worth between £10 and £20. The Avia, it's a very well known established brand. The Sakura, I'm not at all sure about, but because it's a mechanical watch that runs, I think at least £10 for. Obviously with the F91, you can, it's about a £5 watch. You can probably sell it for £5 to £6. The Timex here, though, this is actually quite a sought after model of this particular, of the Expedition, and I've seen them go, because I've kept an eye out for them, so I've seen them sell for like £25 to £30 since I've got this one working, or since I've been looking to get this one working. So I was looking for all sorts of Timexes, because I really like the red and black design. It's the red second hand on this particular watch, and then you've got the Timex in red as well. It just looks really cool. It's just a really, really nice color combination, and then you've got the white numerals that stand out. It's so legible. It's got the Indiglo. It's a proper field watch. You've got the 24-hour markers, of course. This is part of the reason why I love Timex as a brand. I've got many Timex watches. I just think they're really, really, really cool for the value and for the design and the heritage and everything else that you get from them. So many people have a lot of gripes about Timex, and they say a lot of different things, but in my opinion, I've got a few of them, and I like them all very, very much. In fact, the next watch I'll show you guys is a Timex. So now this particular watch is awesome as well. It's a Timex Ironman, and you can see here it's an Ironman triathlon. And what's really cool about it is, firstly, the bracelet is really, really unusual. You've got a fold over clasp here, and then you've got this titanium bracelet, which is basically the thinnest sort of sliver of titanium that I've ever seen, and it's basically the bracelet of the watch, and then it goes all the way through this rubber section here. And I've actually worn this watch, and I really, really like the look of it, and it's unusual, and it's really cool, and it says titanium there. You can see it's really, really comfortable. That's the main thing. It's absolute with this rubber that is actually sits on your wrist, so you're not getting any sort of metal digging into your wrist at all, even though you might think it would have something like that based on the way it looks. So these lugs, they kind of protrude all the way down into the strap, but they're so long, and then they protrude downwards. You could technically bend that, I guess, if you wanted to. The watch itself is awesome. It's a Timex digital. It's got some really cool functions. Obviously, it's got the Indiglo. It's a negative display. It's got some really cool functions. It's got a chrono. It's got a timer. It's got obviously alarm. 3 alarms you can see there, and then the time as well. It's just an awesome watch. Especially it's built solidly because it's a triathlon, so obviously it's meant for use in quite active situations, to say the least. Not that I can run a triathlon or have attempted to, but it's an awesome watch. It's a type of watch that I would wear if I'm doing DIY and things like that. I think this is the kind of watch that I'd probably wear. It's comfortable and unnoticeable. It's super light, and in terms of value, it's got some real value, because this is one of the Timex triathlons that's quite sought after, as it turns out. So I'm really, really pleased with that watch. And of course, it wasn't actually, so most of these watches are not watches that I wanted from any of these lots. These are just watches that I saw that they were a part of the lot. The swatch itself was definitely one that I wanted, and I bought the lot for that watch. But the others here, they all caught my eye once I was going through the lots themselves. The next watch here is really interesting. It's a vintage LCD quartz, and inside there is a Bolivar quartz movement. Unfortunately, it's extremely corroded and it's definitely not going to run. It's a circular movement. I don't know much about it. This watch has no branding on it at all, and I'm not even 100% certain that that movement is a Bolivar movement, but from the research that I could do, I found some images of some Bolivar movements that look very, very close to that, if not identical. So I'm assuming it is, but I'm not 100% certain, to be honest. But the watch itself just looks so cool. You've got that retro futuristic vibe. It's just really interesting. It's just really cool. The bracelet itself is awesome as well. They're folded links there, you can see, but they're super tight. It's just an awesome, awesome looking watch from the 70s. I believe these kind of watches were made in the 70s, and I really like it. I think it's just really something retro, and it's got that futuristic vibe at the same time, as I said, and I just thought it's amazing, but unfortunately it doesn't work. So now I'm on the lookout constantly for watches of a similar style, especially with the buttons in the same place. So it could potentially have a similar movement that I could swap out maybe. I'm not sure, but I really like the look of the watch. So this is basically a vintage watch. If I get it working, it'll join my vintage watch collection. But until then, it's going to go into the watch hospital, unfortunately, awaiting a new movement, I guess. But I really like it, and I'm sure I could probably sell it as spares or repairs. This bracelet itself, I've seen some of them listed for some crazy prices. I'm not sure why on eBay, and I don't know if they sell for that much, but I can't find this particular watch anywhere. It's got no branding on it at all. The movement itself, I can't find any branding on it. It had some printing on one of the pieces of the movement, but that's kind of faded, so it's hard to tell. But it has got no other branding that I can see unless I take it apart further. But either way, I really like the watch, and I'm really hoping I find a way of getting it working again. And I'm just happy to have it for now, I guess. Okay, so the next watch that I want to show you guys is this, which is a Pulsar. At the moment, I've taken the watch away from the clasp. I took the clasp off because I wanted to get access to the back of the watch so I could change the battery. But this is a Pulsar, and this is a Pulsar World Timer, and it's an absolutely awesome watch. I've had a few issues trying to make sure it stays working. Sometimes the battery seems to come away from the watch and it stops working, but at the moment it's working really well. And it's got a beautiful indigo light, and it's got a world time function. So you can see there the map of the world, and then you've got all the different time zones, and you can cycle through them. It's just really cool. And then you've got stopwatch, alarm, and obviously the time, and then you've got analog time as well with the crown. It's just a very, very interesting watch, and again, not one of the watches that I was had my eye on necessarily. It was more so all of these kind of watches that I saw on the lots were more so watches that I thought I could potentially sell on, but they just really appealed to me once I got them in hand, and I really like them, so it's staying with me for now at least. The condition of the watch itself is not the best. Maybe I'll give it a go and try and refinish some of these surfaces, but I'm not really that fussed. I just like the actual movement itself, and I don't mind the fact that it's pretty beat up. But it's a very, very cool watch. It's a Pulsar, so obviously a Seiko. Now this watch also has some value. I think it can be up to £50, but in this condition probably 30 is more reasonable and achievable. But again, an awesome watch, and I'm really pleased that I got to see it, because it's not a watch that I would have ever owned otherwise, and the functions of the watch are really cool. Let me go ahead now and take the lights down a bit, and so we can have a look at the lume and some of these watches. So as you can see here, this particular watch already has some lume on it. This is the Marks and Spencer's watch that you guys are seeing now, and that's pretty cool. But then when you press the button, you get to see the electroluminescence as well, which is absolutely awesome in the dark, actually. And then obviously the text as well coming through with the numerals, which is really cool to see. So this one is the pulsar world timer. So you can see it's got an electroluminescent backlight too, which is just nice. It's not the best, but it's cool to see and it's nice to look at. And then finally we've got the Timex here, which is the Indiglo as well. And on camera, for some reason, I think it's because the room's so dark, it's very, very bright and you can't make out the clarity very well. But I can assure you, and with your eye, it just looks amazing. As all Indiglos, as I'm sure you guys know already with Indiglo. Now, the last watches that I'm going to show you are the watches that I bought most of these lots for. Now, I've ended up with basically 5 of them, and they're all W86s, Casios. Now, this is a watch, one of my all-time favorite Casio watches, and I had one, and I saw that they discontinued them, and I wanted to get another one that I could wear, so I could keep the one I have in the condition that it was in. And I ended up looking for some cheaper versions because they sell for quite a bit, and in some of the job lots I found these watches. So now I've basically got 5 of them. The ones here in the bags, all of them unfortunately had straps that were broken, so none of the straps worked, and some of them came without a strap in the first place. But thankfully I've managed to find straps for all of these, brand new Casio genuine straps, which is really awesome. This one here is it runs. It hasn't got a battery in it at the moment. It does run. Unfortunately, the Indiglo doesn't work on this particular model. But what interested me about this model was the difference in colour, as you can see there. So it also has this older movement inside it. This one's got a 1572, and all of the others tend to have a 3298, as you can see there. And it's the colour difference that intrigued me. I wasn't aware that there was slight variations in the same model of watch, which is just cool. So this is an older version of this same watch. Unfortunately, it doesn't work, but one of these other ones also have a 1572 movement in it, not that one, I believe. So I may potentially swap that out. As you can see here, it's this one here, and this one, the Indiglo, does work, as you can see. So I may swap that movement into this one, just because this is an interesting case, although it is pretty beat up, as you can see. But just that design, the colour, the difference in colour is just quite cool to me. It just interests me, I guess. So those are the 5 W86s. I've managed to get straps for them. I got them at a reasonable price, under £7 each, which is really good. Each of these watches here are worth at least £30. They can be worth anywhere up to 30 to 50, depending on the condition. And obviously, because I've got some brand new straps for them, that's going to help with the value. So just those watches on their own. My intention is not to keep all of them. I'm probably going to keep 1 or 2, the best condition ones, and I will, because they're discontinued as well, so I just really love the watch. It's one of my favourite watches, and I'd sell the others potentially. So that's the entire job lot, guys, and I'm really, really pleased and that I've got to show you guys, because it's just an experiment that I tried over the last 6 months or so, and it's been a lot of fun. I wasn't expecting to end up with all of these watches. I was expecting to sell pretty much all the other watches apart from these W86s that I was intending to keep and potentially get straps for, and look for the best condition one and sell the rest, basically. But I've ended up with a collection of watches here. I've made my money back. I've got watches listed on eBay and Vinted that amount to around 110 to 150 pounds. I've got a whole bunch of watches that I haven't even got round to listing yet. I've got a few watches that are broken, so they need some sort of repair, and I'm thinking about whether I should go through the process of trying to repair them, or maybe I'll sell them as some spares or repairs and things like that. But all in all, I think I've done pretty well. I think there's a potential to make between £200 and £300 profit to get to keep all of these cool watches that I'm showing you today. And if I was to sell all the W86s as well, I think I can make anywhere up to £500, I think. That's the optimistic side. Obviously, more conservatively, probably about £350 to £400. So I think that's a pretty good experiment, and it's worked out pretty well. It's just an idea for you guys. If it's a thought when you, it's one thing I mentioned in the job lot videos themselves. When you are purchasing job lots and things like that, it's always a good thing to have an eye on one or two of the watches that you want for yourself, because it's a way to pick up a watch that you want or you like, or that you think you could add to your collection, and then potentially recoup some of those costs that you've spent on the watch. And in this particular case, I've managed to get all of these watches that you see in front of you, and I've managed to pick them up. I've managed to earn money from doing so. Obviously, it took some time and effort, and you can't really put a price on that. But I enjoyed it. It was like a nice experience for me. I enjoyed listing the watches. I've ended up listing some of my other watches through this process. I've sold a lot of other things on eBay, listed a lot of other things. So it's kind of prompted me to do a lot more clearing out of things that I don't use, things that I've got lying around the house that I potentially can move on to a better home. And I've sold a lot of other things too. So from this experiment, I think it's been worthwhile for me. I hope you guys have enjoyed the video. I will put some links in the description for some of the other job lot videos where these watches came from, so you can see some of the other watches that I've sold on. And I'll also put a link in the description for the video where I restored and refinished a friend of mine's watch, so you guys can see what I plan to do with this particular watch here. I think this is kind of like the jewel of these watches, in my opinion. It's just such a beautiful watch. It is obviously a homage, if not a clomage, but it's a really, really lovely, well-made watch, and it runs really well. I just need to, obviously, and I think this blue strap, considering the blue hands, pairs really well with the watch. And again, with this particular watch, I think the blue strap pairs really well. You may not be able to see very well on camera, but that outer edge of the dial is actually blue. It's like a really navy blue. So that's why I chose the colours on those two straps. They didn't cost me very much. I think I picked them up for maybe $5 or $6 each. So that's the video. Thank you very, very much for watching and tuning in. I hope to make a lot more videos this year, and I very much hope that those videos will be of interest to you guys, and you guys will tune in again. Thanks again. I'll see you guys soon. Take care, everyone. Bye bye.